yes it will. My Highland Town salute.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I sorry, my mic was muted. Good morning, everyone. Where we're listening and watching from around the world and the Eastern Caribbean. This is Roots 96.1 FM, the voice of the inner city, the voice of the voiceless Jamaicans, from Negril Point to Moran Point, from Galena Head Mountain to Drunker Head Mountain to Blue Mountain Peak. This is your poor people defender, yours truly, Jeffrey Tavares. Tell your friends and family that I am on. And this morning we're going to speak about what's going on in our government. But before I go to that, I must say I have a debt in my family. Well, his family raised me and sent me to school. Bishop Dr. Robert McLean Thompson, the son of the late Custis of Westmoreland, James McLean Thompson, passed away on Friday last week. I must say condolence to his wife, his two sons, Matthew and Joseph, the entire Anglican Church family, his brothers, Norman, John, and Junior, his two sisters, Hopi and Angela. My condolence to them. But this morning, we're going to speak about what is going on. Why there is no local government election. Is it that the Labour Party is in crisis? Or is it that them broke like Sammy Mouth? But under our constitution of the land, Michael Andrew Holness and Desmond McKenzie, the constitution states that local government election must be called. Now I'm saying this to the people of Jamaica, that I think that the Prime Minister, that the people of this country should call for fixed election date. Should call for fixed election date. And when I say call for fixed election date, I mean call for fixed election date, where the general election is called along with the local government election. It can't be that in 21st century Jamaica, the people must wait until the Prime Minister him decide to call election or call local government election. It cannot continue like this. At 11 o'clock, I'll be joined with my good friend Wilfred Rattigan to speak some more about this. The country cannot continue. It cannot continue like this, where the Prime Minister believes that he is the Xi Jinping of China, or his government believes that they're the Xi Jinping of China, or of Russia with Vladimir Putin, or the little rocket man from North Korea. This is a democracy. The last time I checked, Jamaica is a democracy. And I'm saying to the Prime Minister this morning, go to the Parliament of Jamaica and set a fixed election date. The two political parties in this country for far too long bob and weave and play with the people of this country. Fixed election date must be given to the people, and I hope today in the throne speech of the Governor General, the opening of Parliament, he put it in there. Every year they put in these flim blam belongs and blim blim belongs words to con the people of this country by telling them, yes, there will be fixed election date, and there will be legislation put in Parliament to impeach government officials. The Prime Minister said it from 2016 until now. There is none. Until now, there is none. It cannot continue, Mr. Prime Minister. We must not wait on the base of you to call election. Election is due. Local government election is due. And you, along with your party and the chairman of the party, and the local government minister who is in charge of the local government election, Desmond McKenzie, is playing around. By the way, you want to find out something here this morning. Here. How is it that one place in Westmoreland, in Manchester, is being named after Desmond McKenzie, one road? You tell me, say, there's nobody in Manchester, in that area of Michael Phillips constituency. The road could be named after. Why Desmond McKenzie? And in his speech, when he was there talking to people for the road, you could hear a lady in the background talking, we want water. We want water. And to shut up the people, oh yes, we're going to build up this over there. And we're going to put the water over there. This is 21st century Jamaica. And our people still don't have water in the pipes? Huh? 21st century Jamaica. And the people of this country still have the water in the pipes, Mr. Prime Minister. And Desmond McKenzie. And because you hear the people talking about water, you're thanking them for the piece of road. And then hey, the mayor that hearing. I had a thing here that was sent to me from somebody down in the Manchester Parish Council. How you go about giving the names of roads after people. But for some reason, the thing came out of my phone. And the mayor him decide to give the road name after Desmond McKenzie. Mr. Mayor, I am pretty much sure there's some teachers in Manchester that the name of the road could be given after them. Desmond McKenzie saying one could go down to Manchester to open for the road to be named after you. When is the local government election going to call in this country? My fellow Jamaicans, the time has come for you all to call a spade a spade. The local government election is due. They need to set fixed election dates in this country. And I'm going to find a piece of audio and play it. The Prime Minister said it, not me. And I missed it, sir. And the PM said it. And I'm going to try and find that audio. That he said fixed election date. And all kind of something. And now you're telling me that we must wait again until they feel like to call election in the local government election in this country? When they feel like calling local government election, they call it? It cannot continue. It cannot continue. We cannot continue like this as a people. Not because... Sorry about that. My thing was going... Yes. We cannot continue like this in Jamaica. We cannot. And all our listeners on Roots 96.1 FM and those who are on both Roots FM YouTube and Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel, if you feel like to take part in this discussion, you can call 876-225-9478. That's the studio number. 876-225-9478. We're discussing this morning, should the local government election, along with the general election, be called in one? Should there be a fixed election date in this country? Should there be a fixed election date in Jamaica? They say it's going to cost the country $1 billion to call local government election. Now tell me something now. 1 billion. And people are not batting them pipe. And KPH is in a deplorable condition. And not cost the country $1 billion. I saw we rich. And the pit the nutrition are going like that. Huh? We in this country must put away PNP and JLP and speak up for this country. Speak up for this country. By the way, I think I have the order of the Honorable Desmond McKenzie speaking at his Desmond McKenzie Close. That's the name of the road in Manchester, you know. No teaching in Manchester. Miss Maria Zilla, who helped the people in Manchester. The road, how many name for them? Why is that been for Desmond McKenzie? Huh? Why has it been named for Desmond McKenzie? Is that Desmond McKenzie is the only person in Jamaica that a road can be named after? Why could we name Desmond McKenzie? Let me see if I can get the audio here. I hope Mr. Brown can tell me they're hearing it. It's now 11:45. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back. Mr. Brown?
New budget supplies, massive price buster now on. Want to redo that kitchen? Retile that old makeover the bathroom? It's now or never. White toilet from $14,999. 5-gallon paint from $6,599. Gypsum board $1,749. 50% off UPVC French windows. 10% off kitchen sinks, water tanks, and pumps. 195 Hackleburg Road. Telephone 923-4560. New budget supplies. Always the best prices.
Hi, I'm Sharon.
Hi, I'm Marcia.
I'm Adrian.
Join us this and every Wednesday morning for Extraordinary Abilities on Roots 96.1 FM. Join us for news, views, and interviews with extraordinary people. Extraordinary Abilities every Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on your Extraordinary radio station, Roots 96.1 FM. It's going to be fun, informative, and educational. But most of all, it will be extraordinary.
Rootsy Entertainment News on Roots 96.1 FM. For current entertainment news in the music industry, trending tunes, and Vox Pops, we bring you the latest on your favorite recording artists. So keep it locked on Roots 96.1 FM for your Rootsy Entertainment News.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the MeK Wi Talk program here on Roots 96.1 FM, the voice of the inner city. I am your poor people defender. At 11 o'clock, we'll be joined by the rebel, Wilfred Rattigan. where we're going to speak some more of what is going on in our country. There is also something brought to your attention where the high Chinese investment in the Caribbean. Barbados, $350 million investment that they borrow from China. Cuba, $750 million. Antigua and Barbuda, $1 billion US. Trinidad and Tobago, $2.28 billion. Grenada, $3.201 billion. Jamaica, $31.6 billion. Jamaica borrow from the Chinese Exim Bank to invest. In other words, to build up this and build up that. That is what. So the question must be asked this morning. Of the amount of Chinese investment in the Caribbean, is it that pretty soon China will tell the Caribbean, listen to me, you all are a part of the People's Republic of China now? When we can't pay back their debt? China owns half of Jamaica's port. And I don't know who gave them the brilliant idea to let the Chinese government build the Ministry of Foreign Affairs building downtown Kingston. From that building start, I've been saying this from day one. You cannot let a foreign government build your foreign affairs building. It was brought to my attention that when the building was open, that China Engineering Harbor, whatever I call the construction company, did not put the sewage system on the main sewage system. So the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, the good lady, who was trying to get Secretary General of the Commonwealth, and because she chat, she never get it, went to the American ambassador to ask for financial help for them to get the sewage system for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs building to go to the main sewage system. What was said to the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade cannot be said on here. The mad. The government of Jamaica, along with the opposition, allow a foreign government to build our foreign affairs building downtown Kingston. So it bugged left, right, and center. No American diplomat, no United Kingdom diplomat, no United Nations diplomat, no Canadian diplomat, no German diplomat will not have any serious meeting in Jamaica's foreign affairs building downtown Kingston because they're afraid that the Chinese buggy. Huh? On this same program here, on this noble radio station that speak up for the poor people in this country, said it. You cannot allow a government construction company to build your foreign affairs building. But of course, the people who put these people in parliament were a bunch of bloody idiots. So we don't have no say. The only say we have is when the election time come around and come and tell us who walk on us. I will make one sleep on the door open. Good afternoon, my listener from the United Kingdom. Like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Send it out to everybody. I am the poor people defender in this country.
The Prime Minister in 2016 said that I will go to Parliament
and put in legislation for fixed election date. And I will go to Parliament and put legislation in place for impeachment of ministers or prime ministers who is caught in the public kitty. Me, Jeffrey Tavares, asked Prime Minister Andrew Holness at a town hall meeting in Washington, D.C. with Ambassador Audrey Marshall Marshall. I asked him the question, Mr. Prime Minister. You said to us that you will put fixed election date in Parliament. What happened, sir? As a matter of fact, he said in my first 100 days, I will do this and do so. How long are journalists in a Parliament now? 100 days gone, long time. Huh? I asked him the question.
A second, Jeffrey.
You're like Mr. Rattigan. I asked him the question. I said to him, can you please tell me when there will be fixed election date in Jamaica? He said to me, Wilfred Rattigan was on the Zoom link. He said to us that he does not do that. When election time comes, you kick out, who kick out, and put in. That's what the Prime Minister of Jamaica tell us in a town hall meeting in Washington. Go on, come up, Mr. Rattigan. That's what the Prime Minister of Jamaica told the people, the Jamaican people in the diaspora. Prime Minister Andrew Holness tell us that. So what is the Governor Throne speech now entail today? At 11 o'clock, they're supposed to start the Vlim Vlam Throne speech. Then block off half of downtown Kingston for bringing the GG, who is the real big man according to Wilfred Rattigan, because nobody can go to court. So whenever the Prime Minister go to the GG to sign off on the state of emergency, the GG not ask no question, the GG just do it. This is what is going on in this country. Jamaica borrow from China $31.6 billion US dollars. Whatever US or Jamaican currency, anyone have money. That's what they borrow from the Chinese Exim Bank. And now they are telling us, based on what I am hearing, today, that there is no money to run local government election. They need over $1 billion to run local government election. That $1 billion US, or $1 billion rather, Jamaican, could be given to the Kingston Public Hospital to refurbish the Kingston Public Hospital. Or buy some beds. They not use that $1 billion to run election. Why couldn't they go to Parliament? See when they can go to Parliament. To oppress the poor, pauperizing bus and taxi operators. To oppress them. Why they can't go to Parliament? And so we're going to pass a legislation where a local government election is called in one, along with the general election. They can't do that. Because somebody have to name a food. And when they name the food done, the followers of the two political parties been given position in JUTC as another milking tree. They have managers for the indicator. They have managers for the They have managers for the indicators. They have managers for the windscreen. Managers for the park light. Managers for the brake light. Managers for the license plate. Managers for the nut on the tires. Managers for the rim. And some of them are JUTC, not have no degree, not even a high school diploma they don't have. And then I work at JUTC. And students from UWI who have degree can't go in there and work because they're not part of the PNP or the JLP. And we must continue like this in this country. We must continue like this in this country. When will the people of Jamaica stand up and say to the government of this country, led by Andrew Michael Holness, Jamaica is not a part of China, nor Russia, nor North Korea. Jamaica is a democracy. And if you want to run a police state, Prime Minister Holness, ask for asylum. Left Jamaica and ask for asylum in China or Russia. And ask them if you can run for your seat over there. Do not take your people and run them as if you're running a totalitarian country. Yesterday I saw a video with some police officers tear gassing, pepper spraying some people out by the is it RGD there, what they want to call it? Birth Certificate Office? Pepper spraying them. Welcome, Wilfred Rattigan, to MeK Wi Talk. I'm mad this morning.
Well, go on.
You're live on the MeK Wi Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel and also on 96.1 FM.
Yeah.
We're going to lead a rebellion this morning.
Which one, Marcel? Let me not see him. Oh, okay. Marcel, I could see your face now, man.
Mr. Rattigan,
Yes,
what
sir.
is your views on the whole idea of it seems as if there will be no local government election again?
If there's what?
It seems as if there will be no local government election again.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. I mean, it's cyclical. When is it? What time period do you have?
Constitutional due now.
Eh?
It is constitutional due now.
Yeah, but what time period is it? Every 4 years, every 3 years, every 2 years? I don't remember.
I think it's every 4 years, you know. I can't remember. I think it's every 4. Marcel, can you you're
Yes,
live on here, Marcel?
it's every 4 years, but they have applied for numerous extensions. I think we're gone either 6 or 8 years, somewhere between there.
So who grants the extension?
The Parliament of Jamaica.
Huh.
And today your good friend will be giving a throne speech to Parliament today.
Who that?
The GG will be opening of Parliament today, Sir Rattigan.
The throne speech.
So the throne speech full of in the Prime Minister's first 100 days, there will be legislation put in Parliament for impeachment and for fixed election date. I'll know that not happen.
Yeah, but if you remember what he said at the town hall meeting.
Go ahead, sir. Say it.
Yeah, when the question was posed to him, he answered by saying that in the 2016 JLP manifesto, those provisions were there. But in the 2020 JLP manifesto for that election cycle, that they were removed. So the question we wanted to ask him, and you, my dear friend, Mr. Tavares, and in fact, I think you may have been the one who asked him the question.
I was the one who asked the question.
Yeah, and we wanted to follow up, but we didn't get a chance to do the follow-up. We wanted to ask him if he said he was going to get it done within the first 100 days, what happened? Why it wasn't done the first 100 days? And if he couldn't get it done the first 100 days, why didn't he explain to the people why he couldn't get it done as a leader? And because people are expecting you to live up to your word. And that wasn't done. And if he couldn't answer for the first 100 days, then they said, well, you had 4 years to do it until the new manifesto came about, right? And nothing was done. So it was just an empty promise as far as we're concerned, because it should have been done within the first 100 days. Certainly, if not within the first 100 days, because you know what they're going to say, COVID and all of that stuff. But it was like another 3-4 years before the new manifesto was published, where these provisions were taking out. So the question is, what happened between 2016 and 2020? Why it wasn't done? And so far, we haven't gotten any answers. And I don't think we'll get any answers.
Sir Clark, what do and you know the funniest thing? The Minister of Local Government, Desmond McKenzie, who's in charge of local government election, hasn't addressed the issue all now, you know. There's no way they can call local government election now, because you know why? The 28th is supposed to call. You have what? Is it 3 days for nomination, Sir Clark?
Yeah, something like that.
3 days for nomination.
3 weeks. At least 3 weeks.
July.
Yeah, it will take at least 3 to 4 weeks from announcing it for nomination and the election. But the problem is that there is no budget in place with the electoral office to finance the election. Furthermore, to pay for the training of staff, and there's not enough time to train the staff. So it's not likely to happen. It's unlikely, because there's nothing in place to accommodate an election. But what I'm lost at is that the Prime Minister had announced prior to his win 2016, I think it was, that he was going to have a fixed date for elections, and then he was touting sometime after the idea of combining both elections, which would be cheaper. So you spend one expenditure to run both elections, and I think that's a better idea. So you get the whole election thing out of the way, and the whole, the drama will come with the election campaign and all of that. The whole expenditure.
Mr. Clark, if I may butt in there, sorry to cut you off. The Prime Minister said, I wish I had the thing here. I wish I'd send it to Owen. He said, in my first 100 days, I will put legislation into Parliament to impeach government officials and for fixed election date. When Jeffrey Tavares, asked Prime Minister Andrew Holness at a town hall meeting in Washington, at the Jamaican Embassy in Washington, I asked him the question, I said, Prime Minister, you said you put legislation to Parliament for fixed election date. See Wilfred Rattigan there? He can admit to what I'm saying. The Prime Minister said, no, we don't have to do that anymore. We can vote them out and kick them out and put them again.
He did say that.
What he said?
You did
Mr.
say
Rattigan?
That. He did say that. He did. He gave two answers. He said one is that it wasn't in the 2020. What was in the 2016 manifesto for the JLP wasn't there, meaning those provisions you just mentioned. He said, and you had asked him about term limits and
right.
Term limits and I think fixed election dates. And he said those things weren't there in the 2020. And then he said also, if people are dissatisfied with the government, they have an option, and that is to vote them out, which means he's telling you that he's not going to put any term limits on this thing.
So in other words, they tell the people a bunch of lies just to get in. And when the time comes for them to do something, they're not doing it. They will pass a legislation to suit themselves. They pass a legislation to suit themselves to oppress the poor paupers and bus and taxi operators in this country. But they will not put legislation in place that we, the people, can say enough of them. How on earth can you gonna spend $1 billion, $1 billion Jamaican dollars on local government election when the KPH is in a deplorable condition? The Savlama Hospital is in a deplorable condition. When last have they built a school in this country? When last have they built a modern hospital in this country? When last have they put in a container full of modern day hospital beds? But one of their friends and cronies bring a container full of car, a picnic car seat for going to the poor bus and taxi operators do.
At the top of the container full of medical equipment and so on and so forth. I'll have my good friend, a friend of mine, I'll have him break the story on your channel where he's waiting for some things before he'll come public, but he sent down a container medical equipment, beds, this, that, all kinds of stuff. And long story short, it did not get to the intended recipients. And then he found out later on that they sold, people in the Ministry of Health sold off the container of medical equipment and so on and so forth to the general public. And so the people who were identified to receive these gifts, they did not receive them. But I'll have him come talk to you about that.
My God. Mr. Clark, what is going on in St. Thomas? Are they getting a local government election? Because there will be no local government election again, you know?
It's really starting the things that are in Jamaica.
Like the I thought this man in Paul Bogle grandson. Paul Bogle grandson, you're freezing up, man. Mr. Rattigan?
It's too cold for him.
Mr. Rattigan, I know you have been on a series, you have been on a marathon of talk shows for the period of how many days and months, especially days. And I know you're a bit tired. But what I want to ask you this morning, Mr. Rattigan, if you're advising the Prime Minister of this country when it comes down to certain things in Jamaica, how would you advise him? In the sense of the whole local government election, and in the sense of the way how he approached the Jamaican people. The man went to Washington. He went to Washington and he not even addressed the people what he went to Washington about. The Minister of National Security went to St. Lucia. Nobody knows what he went to St. Lucia about. And the people are the one who put him there, who put them there. So how is it that they are not communicating with the people who put them there?
Well,
how would you advise him, Mr. Rattigan?
Well, it depends. If given the situation as it is right now, and if I were his advisor, I would tell him just continue doing the same thing, because look, you cannot tell him, if you're advising him, you cannot tell him, hey, get the local government election on board, because there's a good possibility he's going to lose. A good possibility. So you can't tell him do that. Regarding the trip to Washington, I would advise him to say nothing, because there's nothing you can say. It's a failed trip. There's nothing you can say about that. Regarding the Minister of National Security's trip to St. Lucia, again, I would just say to him, look, just keep your head down low and let's hope for the best. Don't give them anything to talk about, because they have enough to talk about already. And anything you say is gonna be shredded, because there's no good answer. And here's why. You talk about the local election. This is something that should have been, the budget should have been in place for this a long time ago. You keep getting extension. This is something that should have been, the preparation should have been completed by now, based on the length of time between the last one and the next one. The second thing is, with the Prime Minister going to Washington, D.C., you tell him you cannot say anything, because first of all, you weren't supposed to be at that meeting. It was supposed to be the Minister of National Security. And then when you went, you had a meeting in a room over at I think it's Main Justice, either Main Justice or Main State, one of them. It wasn't the FBI headquarters or any of the agencies' headquarters. So you had a meeting and they bring in all these worker bees. And so you and it was mostly, they were in a listening mode. So he was just talking, and there was not much coming from the other side to him in terms of addressing the issues, commitments, timelines, so on and so forth. Nothing, right? And then regarding the Minister of National Security's trip to St. Lucia, what are you going to say? Because people are going to say, if you announce I'm going to St. Lucia, then you have to say why you're going to St. Lucia. And he says he's going there. And I think there was a report, but it didn't make major headlines, that he was going there to talk about regional security issues. But then people, if they had made it like a priority issue, a priority reporting issue, then people would have asked the question, well, why is it that you can travel to St. Lucia to talk about regional stuff, but St. Lucia is not sending guns to Jamaica, and drugs are not going from Jamaica to St. Lucia. Drugs are going from Jamaica to America, and your government has said that guns are coming from America to Jamaica. So why don't you travel to America and try and deal with that problem there? Right. And also then questions will be asked, well, how come you can't control crime in your constituency? You can't control crime in your country, but you are in charge of collaborating and monitoring and doing all of these things with crime in the Caribbean. You can't do it in your constituency in your country, but you're the guy in charge for the Caribbean. And I understand that, yeah, it's one of those things where the chair of that group, it rotates. So Jamaica will have it this time. Next week will be another country, and next month or next year or so on and so forth. Fact of the matter is that he shouldn't have taken that position. He should have quietly said to them, listen, we're going to skip the rotation for Jamaica this time, and then you can give it to another country and then put us back on the rotation like a year or 2 years or 3 years from now. That would have been the wisest thing to do, because it looks foolish that you can't control crime in your, forget about your country, just your constituency, your small little piece of the pie. You can't control crime there, but you are in charge of addressing and collaborating and coordinating all of the crime fighting efforts for the Caribbean. And then the question is, if you did it if you're in charge of it for the Caribbean, what have you done in terms of coordinating all of those pieces to help fight crime in Jamaica? What have you done? Nothing. So if I to answer your question very briefly, because I gave a roundabout background and explanation,
yes,
very succinctly, I would advise them to do exactly what they're doing right now, because they can't do any better.
You know, Mr. Clark, are you there? Mr. Rattigan, based on the postponement of the local government election about a year ago, because they say, first of all, the postponement because of the coronavirus thing, and they postponed it. I think this is the third postponement now. Well, we haven't heard from the Minister of Local Government pertaining to it. Not a word. Conor Pong in go open one road in a Manchester, in a Michael Phillips constituency. Him and the mayor. So me want to know if poor Miss Matty her sister them, the road could name her for them. If I have name her for Desmond Mackenzie. And he hasn't addressed the people of Jamaica pertaining to the local government election. We want to know if the GG, the so-called, who want bex with me, I don't care. I respect them, but the fact of the matter is, if you're put there to serve the people, then serve the people. I want to know if the GG in his throne speech today going to address the situation of local government election. That's what I want to know. Go ahead, Mr. Rattigan.
That'd be interesting to see what it, because the throne speech is a reflection of the government speech. That's what it is. It's basically saying these are the things that the government plans to do for the next fiscal year, right?
Yes.
And so it's supposed to outline plans, goals, objectives. It's going to be interesting to see if he's going to mention that at all, because I'm thinking that if you hear about it, it's probably going to say at some point during the fiscal year, which could mean all the way down to I think next year, all the way down to all the way back to, I don't know, January or something like that. So it depends, or maybe they won't say anything and just figure that, you know what, we're not going to say anything. Let the media do whatever they want to do. Let them say whatever they want to say, because we're in charge and we don't feel a sense of responsibility. But the problem is that Jamaicans need to, and we've been saying it, they need to make them accountable. I got a call from a lady this morning, and she was telling me that what she's going to do is based on the number of programs that she's been listening to and the ideas and the discussions that she's going to organize her community to go and meet with the MP and say, listen, we're dissatisfied, we're tired, right, of everything that's going on. And we're making you know so you can take this to the PM.
Yes.
Because if you don't, then we're going to start planning demonstrations. And she was telling me that the plan is to have a nationwide demonstration. So not just in one place, but right across the country. And I was telling her that's a good idea. And considering that, you know, you have social media that can spread the news like wildfire, that would be a very good idea, you know, to have community groups approach their MPs. And then if the MPs are not providing the required service, then they need to then take it to the streets, because that's what the government will understand when people start. And I explained to her, look at what happened with the car seat. The car seats, they were, and I think they're still enforcing it, by the way. I'm not sure, but they were going to do it. They were going to do it in full force until people started saying, wait a minute, no, this is unfair, it's unjust, and so on and so forth. So, and it caused them to backtrack a bit. Mr. Tavares?
Yes, sir. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, but I can't see you. Hold on a second.
I don't know. I am seeing everything here. Hold on there.
Oh, I'm back.
Yes.
Right. So that's what we have to do. We just have to get organized, because right now it's still disorganized. And I think that we're moving in the right direction by providing the information, and then have people think about it, have people talk about it, and then have people mobilize about it. And that's where we are right now. So it's not just about talking. Talking is just the first step.
Yes. Mr. Clark, your views on the whole local government issue. If the Prime Minister, along with his entourage in Parliament, the 69 people in Parliament, whatever they want to call it, 62, 63, 69, I don't care what they have in there. 63. Well, 69 come. You know why you're going up to 69? You have Jeffrey Tavares, Wilfred Rattigan, Wayne Lonesome, Sir Clark. Who else again? But you want to go up to the 69? Anyway.
Zara.
Yeah?
Zara.
And Zara Burton and all of us who stand up and ask some serious questions in this country. If the local government election is not called, and if they don't address the situation in local government election, Mr. Clark, do you believe that the Jamaican people should just say enough and call for a no confidence vote against the Labour Party or the Prime Minister?
Jeffrey, the truth is,
hold on there. Are we decide to go to King's House, go tell the GG, is either you step down as GG and give back the king in GG, and we get somebody who can stand up for we and not for the government? Go ahead.
Honestly, I strongly believe that they should call the election. We have a fixed date.
You're gone down again.
No matter what happens in the...
They know why you talk this morning.
Yeah, but you realize I appear probably before I give it from morning.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead. We're live on here on Roots 6.1.
And I'm saying,
listen from around the world on the Eastern Caribbean. This is MeK Wi Talk with the poor people defender, Jeffrey Tavares, the rebel Wilfred Rattigan, and the man whose great-great-grandfather lead the rebellion in Morant Bay, Sir Marcel Clark.
Yeah,
Go
man.
ahead, sir.
Yeah, as I was saying, they realize that the temperature on the ground is not in favor of them. And if the local government election is called, they will get a strong message. And I think that is what they're scared of. And they don't have certain things in place to swing the votes their way at this time. It's a divide and rule system. And it's disheartening that the people just sit by and allowing them to just do as they wish, when they wish, and not stand up. They should demand from the Governor General the respect of the Prime Minister, honoring the election, whether he wins, lose, or draw. But they say too long Jamaicans, well, I'm in a business election because they don't come out and vote. It's a minority that is voting at each election. You know. We're spending these crazy money every time there's a new election. The money keep going up, but less people voting. So there's a disconnect somewhere. It's going to take people like us to bring awareness that the people need to come out and vote for who they seriously think should sit in the House of Parliament or sit in these parish councils and dictate what happens in the country. Until we stop taking money for votes, until we stop being influenced by intimidation and we vote freely from conscience, then I know then we'll have a true government. But you see, a sitting government is hard to lose an election, and I remember that. So something is wrong. Those are my few words. I may have to go now, Jeff.
Yes, thank you very much for coming on. Thank you for coming. We have other engagement. Thank you for coming on, Sir Clark. Thank you very much. Sir Rattigan.
Yes, sir.
What do you think? Do you believe that the Labour Party think that they will not win the local government election? Why they don't want to call it, sir? Based on what is going on in the country, you have the CMU scandal, Petrojam scandal, SSL scandal, wherein the maybe government officials involved in it. You have the taxes car seat. I would say scandal too, because when you put in the figure, maybe people are gonna buy when they're not supposed to buy. So, do you think that because of what is going on, they are saying to themselves, you know what is true? Let us not call it because maybe the PNP have leverage over us.
Yeah, well, look, that's not the. I mean, of course, you won't hear that answer given or that response. What they're going to say is that they're still trying to find the funding to do it. And some people find that plausible to say, well, then, you know, if they're still looking for the money, then, you know, to put up the, you know, they can't run the election without funding. And if they don't have the funding, then that's fine. But somebody should come out and talk to us about why is it that it's taken so long to get the funding, despite the fact that they've had extensions. Because my understanding, based on what Marcel just said, is that the last one was, I don't know, what, 8 years ago, the last local election, right? And then I heard somebody say that the people occupying those positions, they're doing it illegally because
yes, it is.
They should have had the elections ready. So, but they're not going to come and say, you know, we're afraid that we're going to lose it. They're going to come up with some explanation. I think the most plausible one is to say, well, we're still looking to find the funding, even though we have plenty of money, and even if the monies were not directed for local election, they can still redirect it. They can redirect it for that. So, because they redirected for a whole bunch of stuff. Look at what happened in Ministry of Health. They redirected some funds to Ministry of I think it's local government,
right?
And then they themselves use the funding willy-nilly. So there are ways that they can find to, or ways they can pursue to ensure that the local government elections will
Hold on,
place.
Mr. Rattigan. Let us dip into the throne speech of the GG.
Oh, he's on?
Live in Parliament now. Let us see if we can dip into it and get him what he's saying pertaining to what is going on. Just give me a few minutes here. Let us see if we can get through to it, because all I know is clap this. Every day they clap this, bloom, 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 bloom. They might then I walk down there.
Key legislative reforms to advance efforts towards realizing improved public order, improved public safety, and reduction in crime and violence by prioritizing the following. 1, amendment to the Fingerprints Act. 2, amendment to the Immigration Restriction Commonwealth Citizens Act and Aliens Act. Review of the Corrections Act. Amendments to the Proceeds of Crime Act, POCA, to include unexplained wealth. Honorable members, the challenges of the pandemic emphasize the need to build resilience in our public health system. Project Code Care was initiated to reduce the backlog of surgeries, and to date, approximately 270 surgeries have been completed through partnership with the private sector and the support of health professionals in the diaspora. The government will continue this drive to improve service delivery, and an additional 1,000 persons waiting for more than 3 years will have their surgeries completed. Studies have shown that the pandemic triggered an increase in anxiety and depression. In putting measures in place to address mental health challenges, the government launched the School Mental Health Literacy Program to train school professionals and students. So far, 531 school personnel have been trained, including health and family life education teachers, school nurses, and guidance counselors.
We're going to break away from the throne speech at Jamaica Garden House to take a quick commercial break on Roots 96.1 FM. When we come back, we're going to speak to Wilfred Rattigan. The GG said something, that over 3 years people have been waiting to get surgery. Owen Brown, take it away.
The kingdom of Eswatini is a land.
Mr. Brown? It's 11:30. Ready for the 11:30 break? Mr. Brown, are you hearing us? Well, apparently they're not taking the 11:30 break again. Let us continue, Mr. Rattigan. I think we're not going to take the 11:30 break, Mr. Have a commercial break at 11:30. It's 11:30 now, Mr. Brown. Well, we're not going to take the commercial break. Let's continue here on Route 96.1 FM, the MeK Wi Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. We're speaking about fixed election date in Jamaica. Will there be a local government election this year, or will they postpone it? We just dip into what the throne speech is being said in Parliament by the Governor General who's opening Parliament. But this morning, I have with my friend here, Mr. Wilfred Rattigan. Mr. Rattigan, based on what is going on in our beloved island, sir, would you consider Jamaica a failed state?
It's certainly, if not a failed state, well, it's certainly on the road to becoming a failed state. They call it, there's a term they use, and let's see if I can find it here. There's a term they use for it. It's hold on one second. I mean, people in the know will tell you that it's well on its way.
Educational, but most of all, it will be extraordinary.
Welcome back to MeK Wi Talk here on Roots 96.1 FM, the voice of the inner city, and also on the MeK Wi Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. This morning we're speaking to my good friend Wilfred Rattigan. Answer the question I asked Mr. Rattigan. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, it's well on its way to being a failed state. I don't think it's there yet, but we see all the signs. I mean, economically, politically, socially, and otherwise, it does not look good. It looks like we're plunging headfirst into that morass that they call failed state. And if we're not careful, as you've said many times, we're on the back door to becoming another Haiti because of the disturbances there, the lack of a control of the country by a central government, and it's just been overrun by gangs and thugs, and criminal activity is just on the uprise. So yeah, I don't have. If we continue the way we're going, yes, we will definitely get there. Because when you start having, like, for example, you start having people can't speak freely, take, for example, the gentleman who criticized the prime minister. And we've seen this before. And somehow they were able to find him in short order and have him apologize. But the top 200, they can't find him, top 200.
But what I want to ask, though, when the people of the Vumvava and the Vumvavi in Upper St. Andrew and Cherry Garden speak out against Andrew Holness, the police go find and ask them to apologize? Why is the people below Cross who must apologize to a prime minister? It is the sole duty of the citizens of this country to criticize a prime minister and any public official under our constitution. So the people must understand that when a police officer must apologize to nobody. If you don't, I am not saying you must respect the office of the prime minister. You must. Or the office of the GG, you must. But when they're going on as if they're a law unto themselves, as if we mustn't criticize them, as if we mustn't say anything about them, and then because we say something, they come for us. I want to come for me. Come for me.
They might not just be careful.
Prime Minister must go. The two political parties in the country must go. Yes, there's one government at a time, I agree. But what is going on in this country today, under the leadership of Michael Andrew Holness, my God Almighty, man, it's think that river and dump. People in the national agency thieving up where people lands. Go ahead, Mr. Rattigan, you have something to say? Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, it's I mean, they're just too many scandals. And so what we'll find is that they're happening so frequently and they're so damning and damaging that instead of stopping and saying, okay, full stop, let's put the brakes on, let's deal with them, what we get deflections, and the two examples that come to mind rather quickly are, one, when they seized the cocaine at the Ian Fleming Airport in Boscobel, St. Mary, and then instead of talking about that, what the government directed the people's attention to was the demolition of the homes in Clifton. All right. Now with the SSL scandal, instead of talking about that and dealing with that, we hear about going to Haiti, right?
Yes.
And so what we see, as a matter of course, is that every time there is something that he should be discussing with the Jamaican public, we find that we've been our attention has been rerouted to another issue. And it just, the redirection continues. It's just issue from issue to issue to issue. And part of that is that it wears you down. And so people tend to kind of like just say, okay, you know what? We had 7 days of it. There's another issue. Let's move on. Let's forget about it. And they forget about it. But no, you can't forget about it. As a democracy, you cannot forget about it. You have to go back and you have to hold the government accountable. But far too often, Jamaican people, they're not fully aware of what's going on. Some of us, we're not fully aware of what's going on. And we have our own problems to deal with, like putting food on the table, getting your children to school, trying to find a job. So you're so distracted by your everyday, things that you really have to make a commitment. You really have to be disciplined about the issues and say, you know what? I know this is going on, but I'm going to pay attention to this. And as a community, we're going to stand up and do something, because one person is just that, one person. You need that one person to influence another person, influence this group, that group, and before you know it, you have a movement. And that's what they're afraid of. They don't want a movement because a movement spells destruction for what's going on. And that's what we need. We need to destroy everything that's going on. The nonsense, the corruption, we need to destroy that. The criminal activity, we need to destroy that. And then go back to our foundation. Jamaica was once a very, very peaceful community, very peaceful society, very peaceful country. And then now we have this. And people have put their fingers on all different reasons as to why we are where we are. And people have come up with solutions. But the powers that be, they're not interested in solutions, because solutions, at the end of the day, that they care about is putting that money in the pocket, is getting that cabbage. That's what they really, really care about. It's about self. You know, they really don't care about the other people. So we just have to try and figure out what we're going to do and how we're going to do it and when we're going to do it. And in fact, they're helping us to do it, because with all of these issues, it makes it easy for us to get together. If they were doing the right thing, then there'd be no need for any of this, but they're not.
True.
So there we are. You know?
Do you think that opposition is a bit too lukewarm?
Look, I've been told that the opposition, that they're doing their best, they're preaching about the issues, but then again, you have other people who said, no, we're not hearing enough from the opposition, because the opposition should be out there every single day. And even today, somebody mentioned to me, they said that, you know, when the JLP was in opposition, every time the PNP made a misstep, they didn't even have to make a misstep. If they just thought about a misstep, they were onto them. They latched onto them and they brought it to the public's attention. And here, there's a feeling that there's so many issues, so many scandals. And they're like, why aren't we hearing from even this morning, a lady called me and told me the same thing. Why aren't we hearing from the opposition out there beating the bushes daily, talking about these issues? Because there are plenty of issues to talk about. And when we say talk about the opposition, I'm not just talking about the leadership, but everyone should be out there talking. You know, everyone should be out there doing something on the airwaves, whether it's traditional media or digital media, the digital space. And we're just not seeing it. We're just not seeing enough of it. We're seeing it. But I would like to see, here's what I'd like to see. I would like to see, like, the opposition put on a town hall meeting every week. Every week they put on a town hall meeting and they raise the issues and invite the community to come in and say, here are the issues, here's what we're facing, and here are some solutions. That's what they need to do. But so far, I don't think I think it's been done, but it's not been done on a comprehensive scale. It's not been done by everyone. It's been done by some people, and that's not enough. You have to get buy-in. Here's how you're going to get buy-in from the people. You're going to get buy-in from the people when everyone is on board. When they see that, okay, there's something going on with the health sector, and the opposition spokesperson on health is in the media challenging, exposing all of these things. That's what they need to see. If there's something going on in education, the spokesperson on education should be out there along with the leader, right, talking about these things. So what I suggest is that if they can't do it on a sustainable level, meaning that every day, at least have a town hall meeting and bring everybody together, all of your team, all your teammates together, and then you raise the issues. And you may only raise 2 issues at that town hall meeting, but to have everybody there shows unity, and in unity there is strength. And so you talk about strenuously, you talk about maybe 1 issue or 2 issues, and then the following week you talk about another 1 or 2, and if there's a follow-up from the 2 that you just did previously, then you bring that to the table.
Yes.
But they need to get out there and do more public awareness speeches. They need to do much, much more of that. It might be a case of funding, I don't know, but they need to do something.
Someone put in the chat room that Andrew Holness does not have any respect for us Jamaicans. He does not see himself as a Jamaican. It's sad when you have your countrymen saying that about you, as a prime minister. Isn't it sad, Mr. Rattigan?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you expect criticism no matter what you do. You could be the best government in the world. You expect some criticism, but the kind of criticisms we're seeing today, not the kind of criticism you want to see not the kind of criticism you would see from a successful government. You know, I mean, it ranges from the personal to the political, and all points in between. So and there's a sense of restlessness and hopelessness in the country. When you talk to people, you get the sense that they cannot see beyond what they can see now. Meaning that they can't see a future. You know, I mean, the prime minister made a speech one time. Well, he made a speech at the convention, the last convention, saying that one of the mandates of the JLP is to move poor people into the middle class. And so I asked him, where is that plan to do so? Because if you have approximately 70% of them earning less than $60 a week, how do you plan to do that? You know, I see another question there.
Yeah, you can read that one, Mr. Rattigan.
Mr. Tavares, I want to know, and we in the diaspora, is Mark Golding looking out for us because he's very silent with all that is going on? Well, to be fair to him, he's not silent. What I think is, and people complain about his demeanor. They say that he's just a he's just soft-spoken guy. He doesn't appear to have the fire in his belly. That's what people say, and because they're looking for Jamaica loves charismatic leaders, you know, and I mean, look at Eddie Siaga, Michael Manley, even this prime minister, but and this man, he doesn't fit that mold. He's cut from a different piece of cloth. But his message is, if you listen to him, the message is there. What I think is that because, and I'm sure he's heard the criticism that he's not forceful enough, he doesn't have that fire in his belly, he doesn't seem passionate about the issue. That's his style, and you can't change who you are. I think what they need is that's why they need a full team to come around. They need a full team to come around so that people besides him can, or in addition to him, can take on the issues, you know, head first and just go at it with full speed, full energy, full passion. But no, I think it would be unfair to say that he's not concerned or he's not strong enough. Sometimes, you know, there is strength in moderation. Sometimes there's strength in silence. But I understand that people are saying, no, we want to see strength born out of strength. We don't want to see our leader just kind of like just come there and just kind of like, you know, just kind of like, you know, low energy. They don't want that. So I think if he's listening, and he should be, then he needs to take appropriate action, because at the end of the day, those are the people that will vote for him, you know, the ones who are complaining right now. And keep in mind that there are lots of people saying what the person who sent the question in, there are lots of people who think like that, who say, you know, he's not forceful enough. Yeah, they say he's not forceful enough. And so what should happen is that people should actually pay attention to what the constituencies are saying, what the voters are saying. But if you're not that kind of person, then you need to surround yourself with people who can do that kind of, you know, the public speaking, the public engagement. And I'm not saying he's not a good public speaker. I've listened to him several times. But it's just that his style is different. You know, he's not the brimstone and fire kind of guy who's going to come out and that's not just who he is. But I understand that people don't want that. They want to see somebody who's challenging the government and somebody who's passionate about, you know, the issues in the country, and somebody who has a fire in the belly, somebody who is everywhere all the time. They see it on, you know, this station, that station, and so on and so forth. And so they're saying we're not seeing enough of him. And I hope that criticism is taken constructively, and that they will try and do something to reverse this negative perception of him and the party.
You know, I must say that I said somebody put in the chat that the PNP doesn't have the money to pay mainstream media. Then I'm going to say to them now, you don't have to have the money to pay the internet. In a sense, if you want to come on the Jeffrey Tavares MeK Wi Talk YouTube channel, Mr. Opposition Leader, to address your people, you can. You want to go on Wilfred Rattigan program on Global Radio, you can. So if they're saying because of the PNP's lack of funds to do certain things, use mainstream media. The young people of our country are on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and they are tired. I listen to some Jamaicans speaking, some young Jamaicans who just leave UWI and who are leaving UWI for a little while also, and they're saying they're tired. They're asking the question, where's our country going? They say they're tired of seeing the country going down a slippery slope. They say they're tired of the corruption. A land, how much acre of land was in a family from generation to generation? And the national land agency want to teach the people their land. So they want to give them 1/3 of the land. Who take with the people their land in a Trelawney? The National Land Agency. Hello, I have papers on you know. I wait to get some more. If call so name the former commissioner of lands who signed where poor people land to her cronies. And the minister who is in charge of lands. When name call Samuda. Are you in parliament for yourself or for the people of this country, Minister Samuda?
Make it true.
Sorry. We need to find out.
Yeah,
this poor lady and her family. They met the woman Pitney. They pay lease for her one land, $600,000 a year. For her one land, rather care sitting for the woman sign. What kind of bandul business they going in the country? Uno the thief poor people land. One of them who sits in the parliament take on the whole of poor people land in St. Thomas. How him get title for poor people land we don't know. So hanky-panky going on in the Ministry of Lands. And some hanky-panky going on down by the Ministry of Labor. With the part program money. Mr. Rattigan is now 11:51, sir. What you have to say to your poor people? Because we come from poor people. We don't come. Now, I can't hear some name Tavares, you know. Some of we poor and pauperizing damn dirty girl.
Be careful how you say that.
We eating mackerel.
Okay.
Hard dough bread.
Mm.
With a damn steak.
Yeah.
This government and the Andrew Holness, it is, they're heartless.
What I would like to say to the people is this. I need you to keep tuning in to these programs because we have a significant message to provide to you. Keep listening. Keep thinking. We have given you what we believe to be the facts. Check out the facts. And if we're wrong, and I guarantee you that in some instances we'll all be wrong. But we need you to challenge us. We need you to say, when you find out we're wrong, yes. And we need you to start thinking critically to come up with ideas to match ours. So if we come up with an idea and you have a better idea, then share it with us. Criticize our ideas. then you start doing that, you start listening, you start thinking, you start discussing it, and then at some point we're going to need action. And what kind of action I'm talking about? I'm not talking about any illegal action against the government or against you and brothers and sisters. I'm talking about actions where you have legal protests, where you get your permit and you do it in a peaceful, orderly fashion. You don't want anything that, anything but come up and then have them, use that as an excuse for beating up. I don't want that. And so we have people here in the diaspora who are willing to help with that effort, willing to show you how to do it, and even willing to join you when you start doing these things. There's something called the Access to Information Act, where you can pursue the receipt of information from the government. A lot of things they won't give you, but some things they are required to give you. And in those instances, you can challenge them, as I have. And if need be, then you take it to the tribunal, you can go back to the agency, you can go to court. But what this requires, people, is that it's time. We didn't get to where we are overnight. It took years and years and years. And so to reverse that, it's going to take a little bit of time. But we have to start. We can't just look at the finishing line and say, boy, they're too far away down. So we have to look at it and say, well, this is where we are, and we need to get to the finishing line. So let's start. And you don't even think about the finishing line. You just start, and then you start thinking about, okay, how are we going to solve these problems? Who do we need to talk to? When do we do it? How do we do it? And then once you start getting those things in gear, I guarantee you'll get to the finish line and won't even realize it, that you're at the finish line. But you have to start someplace. You can't just sit back and listen to the message and say, yeah, it's a good message, but then you don't do anything with it. Because in many instances, we've given you the tools, or we have explained to you how you can use the tools you have to address some of these situations. And sitting back is not one of them, because sitting back implies that you consent to being taken advantage of. If somebody do you something, you have to allow out. You have to allow out, because if you don't allow out, them just continue. So what we're doing is encouraging people to holler out. And once you holler out, then we understand, because they said the squeaky wheels get the grease.
Yes.
And so once you start complaining, they'll have to focus on it, because at the end of the day, remember now, the government is not the government without you. The government cannot be the government without you, because at the end of the day, you are the voters, and you're the ones who voted them to do what? Not to rule over you, but to represent your interests. And when they're not doing that, you have a right to stand up and call them out. And we see what's going on anyway when you stand up. But I tell you what, if more people would stand up, if people would stand up in numbers, what they did to this guy, yesterday or the day before,
yes,
they can't do that.
In Andrew's constituency, the Prime Minister's constituency.
Yeah, they can't do that. They can't do that. Whatever they did to him, they can't arrest the entire community for protesting or for expressing. And this guy was not even protesting in the sense that he was marching or anything like that. He was just expressing his views on a street corner. And then the next thing you know, he has to get up and has to apologize. All right? And apologize for it. And I guarantee you, if you should get that young man one away and you talk to him, but I tell you, say, I force me, I do rest, because I still feel the same way I feel about him. Still feel the same way that he's not doing anything to improve our community. And so, we just have to speak out, because, and when I say people speak out, because Jamaicans are to some degree, we are very patient people.
Yes.
And when them start speak out now, then say why something woefully wrong. That is causing them to start expressing their views in a public manner and in a forceful manner, and then to have to do that, and then to have the authorities come seek you out and then have you apologize. That's terrible. We don't even know if it's the authorities, or maybe it's people in his community who felt the need or were instructed to tell him, say, hey, you need to come to that. So we want to make that clear, that it may be the authorities, or it may be people within the community who feel strongly about it, or who were influenced to have him come and make that statement. But But it's a sad day when you can't speak your mind, man. Sad day.
Indeed. I see wherein it is now 11:58. I see wherein senior journalist Dudley Thompson said on the Roots FM YouTube channel, Jamaicans will never change as long as the people continue thinking along party lines. You're so correct. Indeed, you are so correct. You know, we're going to close off now. But before I go, come Wednesday, that's tomorrow at 8 p.m. on the MeK Wi Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel, we'll be having a discussion on who ordered the killing of Dudu's so-called accountants, Keith Clark. I know Mr. Clark family, and we need answers. Which minister of government in Jamaica ordered the killing of Keith Clark? Who ordered the killing of accountant Keith Clark in the upperlands of Upper St. Andrew? Where the people of the Vumva and the Vumva live? Is it that our government, Jeffrey, shut your mouth this morning? Who are the killing of Keith Clark? Join us tomorrow at 8 p.m.
Who will be your guest?
MeK Wi Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. We'll be discussing. Go ahead, Mr. Rattigan.
No, I was asking who will you have as a guest to delve into that?
Yes, my guest will be none other than Herb Nelson Jr.
You have a good man there.
Mr. Herb Nelson Jr. and 2 other guests, or maybe 3 other guests, that I will not call their name on here, because they're yet to confirm with me. I'm also going to have the chairman of the National Democratic Movement, Mr. Michael Williams, on also. We'll be speaking on the, what went on in Tivoli Garden and who ordered the killing of Keith Clark. Was there an American plane over Tivoli, according to Renita Adams? And who killed the people and dumped them in when I call it Spanish Town Cemetery? I Maypen Cemetery. Whatever cemetery it is. So join us tomorrow at 8 p.m. We'll be discussing that. But we must say so long on here on Roots 96.1 FM. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the MeK Wi Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. Until you hear my voice again, I'm the poor people defender. May God bless you and may God bless Jamaica land we love. Thanks to my good friend Wilfred Rattigan from Outer Waterhouse. We know how to eat tin mackerel and hard dough bread. Jamaicans, have a great day. May God bless you. Remember to tune in at 12:30 for the best in news. The best news team in Jamaica. The best news team in the inner city. Owen Brown, Dudley Thompson at 12:30 for City Beach. Over to you, Obi.